So first for Jimmy, we have after a 2-week run with Sam Kinison in Vegas, Jimmy was 26, had a mullet, and a 32-inch waist. There was a girl that went up to his There was a girl that went up to his room, and she had to bang and leave because she had a babysitter at home. There was no Facebook, Jessica. Emptied the man batter out of the flesh musket with another girl between shows.
Hold on. This is new, having this? That's great.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Liars Club. I'm Felicia Michaels.
And I'm Jessica Wellington.
Our first guest is a gentleman that I've known for many years. And a few weeks ago, we were in the back bar, and I looked at this gentleman, and I said to him, isn't it weird that we are the last one standing from our group? Like, there's not us and Don Barris from our group. That's weird, right?
I mean, it's amazing.
That's
like,
weird.
It's been a lot of years, though. I mean, you see people, you still see their headshots on the wall, but you don't see them around doing stand-up anymore, or at least being able to make a living doing something they love to do. So that's kind of fascinating, you know. I was talking with our friend Dom Herrera, and we were discussing this, that he said how many like famous comedians, you know, or like guys that are working in A clubs. And I said, well, I guess between the two of us, we come up with 120 names that we both knew that were working or that are alive, that are still. And he goes, and then he broke it down. He goes, well, how many professional baseball players do you know? And I said, well, it's 32 teams, 25-man rosters, give or take. I said, that's 750 guys. I said, the NHL is a little less than that. The NBA is a little less than that. I mean, you know, the PGA Tour pretty much is about equivalent on par with the stand-up comedy. It's a very elite group to be a part of and working. I never thought about it in those terms, but when you think about it like that, it's really something special that you're still able to do it. I think it's an amazing accomplishment to still be doing it after all.
Yeah, when you put it into sports terms, it really clears it up for me.
Yeah.
I think she's lying already.
She's lying.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce our second guest?
Oh, that's Jimmy Shubert.
Yes, Jimmy Shubert.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
To my left, he has played a cable man on TV. I know that because I saw it.
Oh my God, you so look like a cable guy.
Now that you think about it, I think I saw you in a porno coming over to install some latest
Same thing. Yeah, I was a cable guy.
I think you're getting typecasted, bro.
At least I'm getting casted.
That's it. That's all that counts, right? As long as you get cast.
He is a regular stand-up comic here at the Comedy Store. You can see him here every weekend. Put your hands together for Mat Edgar.
Mat Edgar, ladies and gentlemen.
Do the audience members put their hands together when they're listening?
I hope so.
Do it now.
We can only pray. I've really been enjoying your comedy because I follow you a lot, or we're on late night spots, and you, my friend, can turn just the most tired, listless crowd around, and you have this like slow poke way where you do it, and then all of a sudden 3 minutes later, a crowd that's like is like so excited and clapping.
They come to you. They come to you.
Yeah, well, that's something you. I think that's Comedy Store 101.
But that's Comedy Store training.
Here.
It's like, you know, these guys have been like Lucas and those guys and Josh have been doing late night spots here. It gives you such great training. So when you finally get one of those primo 8:30 spots, you're just ready. Murder it. You're ready for it. But that's Mitzi's system here, though. That was kind of, and I love that they still honor that, even though she's no longer with us. They still honor that system, give people opportunities to create and get better and better.
Well, I do the avails, and I know there's a lot of newer comics that are coming up, and they'll call in and request certain nights to go late night.
I know.
Because they're like, I want something I want to work on, so put me down late night for Tuesday and regular Wednesday.
Yeah.
On that note, let's start our show. And by the way, we have a new on-air producer. Will you introduce him, Jessica?
Yes, straight from Florida. He is a Gator. That's where I was born, so that's why we allow him. It's Austin Lane Walker.
Glad to be here. Try to represent the Florida as much as I can. So I'm going to take notes for us today. I'm going to keep you guys very honest at the end, so we'll really know who's lying by the time we get to the score time.
God, him taking control just made my nipples hard. Jeez Louise, now there we go. Yeah! All right, so we're going to ask our friends to tell some stories, and I think Jimmy should start first. You can tell the truth or the lie first. Just don't let us know, and it's your turn. Go.
Okay, well, this took place in the 90s. It was like late 90s when I was opening for Sam Kinison, and we were working at the Dunes. We were working at the
I'm not supposed to know the story.
Well, you wouldn't know the story.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever told this story before.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I've heard some of those stories. I'm just saying.
No, this story involves me and me alone. It was a Saturday night. We had a show at 7 o'clock. 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and I think they did like a 1 o'clock. Like it was like, and this was after like a 2-week run. They extended this a third week. Because there was
this is in Vegas?
This was in Vegas. And this is many years ago. I mean, Sam's been dead. It'll be 26 years this year or 27 years this year. So that's how long ago it was. And I was a kid. I had a long red hair. I looked like
You had long hair?
Oh, yeah. I looked like...
He had a mullet. He had the mullet.
I had the red. I looked like Daryl Hall. I looked like Daryl Hall.
Except different.
Except different, yeah. I had a 32-inch waist, and I was out there doing those shows, and so we had like 4. Yeah, I had these.
I'm surprised you didn't masturbate to yourself constantly.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Felicia. Well, sometimes I did.
Constantly.
You know, women couldn't keep their feet off me back then.
Their feet,
anyway. So what happened was, so we do these shows, and this thing. So I do the 7 o'clock show, and a bunch of people came back to meet Sam, and there was this girl there, and this, that, and the other thing, and she got very aggressive with me, and we went up to my room, and we had sex.
Wait a minute, what's this another thing? What do you mean?
Well, she got a very like she was
just flirty. How did she flirt?
Well, she was flirting with me, and then all of a sudden, we kind of went out.
Because we love this little.
Yeah. We went out there. I think we went to the bar and got a drink, and then literally, she took me up to my room. And she had to get the fuck out of there because she had a sitter. So we had sex. She left. Boom. She's pretty hot. I was like, wow, that was great. She left and didn't even hang out. I was like, wow, that was amazing.
Did you get her phone number?
No. Then we
did
the
no
9
Facebook.
o'clock show. Well, there was no Facebook. There was none of that stuff. All right. So Jess, what are you? You're asking a lot of questions, Jess.
Yeah, we're allowed to ask questions.
Yeah,
okay, but my question is the way you said it. And she took me up to my room.
What I was saying is, I didn't realize she had a babysitter. She had to get she was there to see the show, and she needed to get out of there, which was why she was like being a little aggressive. I didn't realize till later because I got to get home. I have a babysitter. I said, oh, okay. Then she got dressed and left. And for a guy, yeah, okay, great. No, she went about her business. I got dressed, went downstairs, and got ready for the 9 o'clock show. We do the 9 o'clock show. Another group of people come for the 9 o'clock show. I met a girl at that show. We also wound up getting a drink, wound up going out, and had sex, and then
where in your rorum?
Yeah, my room.
She took you up to your room again?
No,
drug you up to your room. That
no,
is?
I took her up to my room.
Oh,
she was pretty hot.
You took her up to your room.
I already I was already I already emptied the man batter out once. So
the musket.
The flesh musket. I dropped a little toddler juice, and there was no urgency this time. Although I thought she was hot, and so we went up to my room, and we had sex. Again, this time I got to take a quick shower. I came down, got ready for the 11 o'clock show, and same thing. Believe it or not.
No.
Yeah, swear to God. By the time the night finished, and now this is at the end of 3 weeks, you have to realize we've been going to the Olympic Gardens. There was a lot of freaking...
And that is a strip club?
And that is a strip club. But what I was going with, when Sam Kinison was there, and they tie you off the back room, and these people would come out, and you're making money, and you're tipping, and Billy Idol was there, and it was like, it was a big thing. And so after the 11 o'clock show, the same thing happened with another woman, and we made Man Passionate Love. And then we had the night, I go back to my room, and about 3 o'clock, I hear a knock on my door, and it was one of the strippers from the Olympic Garden who was standing there literally in a trench coat with nothing but lingerie on. And I opened the door, and she pulls the coat open. And I'm going, wow. Now, she was smoking hot.
She's like, is Sam here?
Yeah,
this is the features room.
Yeah,
my bad.
That's what she wanted. Oh, where do you tell your story?
Feature, okay, he was the opener.
So what happened? Bring it in. So all right, no, but so I opened the door and I wound up fucking this girl for 2 hours because I couldn't because I had a powder woody. From the booger sugar, and I had already blown my nut like 3 times.
No, you're noodle fucking.
So I'm no. This was 26 years ago. I had that rock hard fucking powder woody, and she was like, and I finally came, and she goes, "Oh my God, you always last that long?" Yeah. When I have 3 girls before you, I always last that long.
You said that to her?
No.
Okay. I was gonna be like,
I thought it. No, I didn't say it.
Okay, can I ask you this?
Yeah.
How are the sets?
Sets were phenomenal.
Oh, you're bad. You were not all fatigued.
Right, dude. I was relaxed. I was nice and loose as a goose, bro.
Now, hold on. I think you were going to give us the total tally. So after 3 weeks.
No, so after 3 weeks we did shows, but the one night.
You didn't have like a grand total? So after 3 weeks after being on
No. I'm talking about this one night.
Which is crazier.
It was one night on a Saturday night that we were held over. We weren't supposed to be there, but this Saturday night I wound up making love to 4 women.
Oh, now it's making love.
Well, we were fucking.
Powder dick. It's making love with a powder dick.
With
It
a
ain't
powder
making
woody.
love. It's not making love with a powder
I was
dick.
fucking, baby. I was
The first 2 were making love, and then he was just fucking after that.
Yeah, then I'm just fucking after that. And so over the course from about 7 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning, over the course of that 12-hour time span, I'd fucked 4 different women.
God. Did you use a condom?
No, I had my penis laminated. Sure, you lose a little sensitivity, but what the hell? You know?
You did use it. You didn't use it.
Of course, I used a condom. What are you fucking kidding me?
Really?
I don't think so.
Why would I not use a condom? It's fucking Vegas. It was the fucking.
Because I remember how you were at the age of 26. You were all over the place.
Busted.
You weren't a very organized person. You weren't riding a motorcycle. You were being crazy. And then all of a sudden you're going to be fucking responsible and put a condom on the 4th chick?
That's just pure logic, man.
Why would I used a condom for all 4.
You did?
Yeah.
Did you have them or did they bring them?
Nothing to do with that. I don't want to get a phone call like 3. Hey, we have a little surprise for you.
Yeah.
I never wanted to do that.
You're like, wait, which one are you?
Well, let me ask you a question. It was more about that. About wearing a condom was more about that. Mm-hmm. And even still with a condom on, I would always kind of pull out and finish outside because you never know if the condom would rip. It was more about getting them pregnant. It was worried about me getting a fucking disease. So yeah, I wore condoms with all of them.
And you pulled out.
And I pulled out. Yeah, I don't fucking
That's how I
trust
roll.
anybody. No, that's what I roll. That's how you roll. You go, because I was making one with one woman. She goes, "What are we going to call the baby? What are we going to call the baby?" I pulled out. I pulled off the condom. I tied it in. I said, "Fuck him. If he gets out of here, we'll call him Houdini." All right. Hey.
Now, did you do magic back then?
Yeah, well, I've done magic
That
since
seems
I'm
like
9.
that's a magic trick
I
altogether.
know, right?
Now you see it. Now you don't. Now you see it. Now you don't. Now you see it. That's close-up magic, all right. Hey.
4 girls, huh, Jimmy? One night.
Wow.
Over the course of 12 hours, yeah.
It's interesting.
Wow, you're looking at me like you want to smell my finger. Here, have a whack at it. I'm kidding.
You know, it's funny is I think like I know that because you've told me a story before where it was kind of crazy. You did it on that when we filmed at the Venus Fair. Remember that?
Oh yeah,
in North Hollywood. Yeah,
I was crazy.
Yeah, that were in that time period of Sam Kinison where you guys did craziness and you shared a story. It's slightly different than this story.
Yes.
So, but I love when you get flustered. You're so fucking awesome when you get all hopped up. And I just want to tell a quick story.
Okay.
So we're in the back bar a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
And Jimmy just did, and by the way, congratulations, his first night at the comedy, the Magic Castle as a magician. Because Jimmy, growing up, wanted to always be a magician, and he was very into magic tricks as a kid, right? That's
yeah,
how he
well,
got into comedy.
it was like a thing I did. I actually did it professionally when I was like 13, 14, 15. I retired the wand and stuff when I got up 18 and went full into
You
style.
retired the wand?
But you know, no, but it's a funny thing. But it was one of those things where, like, you always have these like unlived lives where you go back and you go, wow, what happened if I would have pursued that? And so it just became a full blown hobby. And it was something to do on the road because you spend a lot of time by yourself, and it's not a lonely existence, but it's certainly a solitary existence. I mean, and guys do other things. Chris Porter plays guitar and sings. I mean, you bring your guitar with you, can, or whatever the deal is. Some guys bring a drum pad. Some guys drum or play music. And not for me, it was magic as a hobby. Just
What's your thing?
Sit down showers.
Fair enough.
For non-stop, and I get a nice hotel. I'm
Fair
sitting,
enough.
Dude, that's phenomenal. Sometimes I don't mind a sit-down shower.
Oh, dude, that's all I do on the road.
Really?
Yeah, man.
You just get lost in there and meditate?
What else am I gonna do?
Yeah,
I'm not using my water.
No, it's great. That's phenomenal.
So anyway, a couple of weeks ago, we're in the back bar. Jimmy comes from doing his first gig at the Magic Castle, and he's with a magician or two, and
my
his
buddy Zach Waldman, and we were sitting back there with some other friends.
And then Jimmy's like, I just was at the magic castle. However, one would do Jimmy Shubert, but I think that's kind of close, right?
It's right on point. I love how people turn me into a mere caricature of myself.
Oh, you are, man. Everybody does it.
I'm like a fucking human cartoon.
That's like 2 generations of chicken. It's my favorite. Me and Hitchcliff used to always do that.
So then he's like, I can do magic tricks. You want to see a magic trick? And I'm like, all right, okay. You want me to see the magic trick?
I didn't
Jimmy?
do that. She were fucking setting me up.
I was not. So anyway, I'm back there enjoying my gin and Tanqueray is all I was doing. My Tanqueray tonic. So anyway, so we're in the back, and he breaks out some cards, and he starts shuffling them with those fucking hamburger hands of his. Right? You got some big ass hands. One card, meat hooks.
Yeah, you picked a card. She picked a card first.
A card fell out. Oh,
yeah, but you picked one first.
I picked a card first.
And I'm shuffling her card at the deck. One card drops. I put the deck on the counter. I bend over to get my card. She steals the top card.
I take that top card. I'm just like, just in case.
Turns out her card was the top card.
I just took a shot, right?
Yeah, she just took a shot, and she fucked over She fucked me over.
So he keeps going, is this the card? And then his friend sees me do it, and I turn to his friend, and I'm like, shh, right? And then he goes, is this the card? I'm like, no, Jimmy, that's not the card. Is this the card? No, Jimmy, is this the card, right? Then I finally take the card out of my pocket. He's like, you fucking bitch!
And people ask me why I do angry magic. That's why. Because you can't trust people.
You shouldn't have revealed your trick.
What? No, I had to. His friend saw me do it, and
no, that's funnier for him though. The friend, I'd be like, oh, okay. Like, that sucks me into it because the friend's got to be sick of watching.
Well, by the way,
magic.
I told the people at the Magic Castle what happened, and she's been put on a list.
Okay,
she's not allowed to go to the Magic Castle. She's been put on a list of somebody who's gonna.
Yeah, I've been there 3 times. I'm not worried about it. Okay.
Yeah, but you promised to take me.
Oh yeah, I gotta take it. Will you get us into the Magic Castle?
Let me think about it. Actually, I could get you in.
Okay.
Let me think about it. I haven't made my see how the rest of the podcast goes. Okay. Anyway.
All right. Well, that's a good, strong story. Do you have any feelings about that story, Jessica? Anything you want to ask
I'm sure that he was a tramp back in the day. I have no
I love that.
No doubt at all that you were. I can see it in your eyes.
That I was a tramp back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
I can't fucking help it. I was younger. I was fairly fucking attractive. I had a skinny waist. I was hilarious. I mean, what was not to like? I had a big dick and a lot of personality. So there. What do you fucking want from me?
And I do magic. What else do you want?
I can't keep the women off me.
Took the wand out of retirement.
One night only. One night only. Taking the wand out of I ain't bringing the wand off the wall, blowing the dust off it. Abracadabra. That's actually what they call the girls that sleep with magicians at the Magic Castle. They call them abracadabras.
Whoa.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's their chuckle fucker.
Yeah, like at the Comedy Store, they're called chuckle fuckers. At the Magic Castle, they're called abracadabras.
Right.
There's a couple of abracadabras upstairs.
Are there any women magicians there?
Yeah, there's plenty of women magicians and phenomenal women magicians.
Right. Do they have abracadabras too?
Well, they would have, Abracadabros.
Yeah, there you go.
Not the Abracadabros.
All right, good one.
Nice.
I do have I want to just dive deep a little more into it. So like with the condoms, did you already have those? Did they bring them? Did you have to go and get some?
No, I wear them across my chest like Mexican gun belts.
For real though?
No, for real. I always travel with condoms on the road.
And
my thing is, it's funny because I always would go. I'd rather have condoms and not need them than need them and not have them.
All right, Matt, your turn. Try your best.
I almost got expelled, like seriously, from school for taking a picture of my English teacher peen.
You took a picture of him fucking squirting in the urinal and then posted it?
Yeah.
Why?
On the morning announcements that came on the
So hold on, what?
School
it wasn't like a disposable camera. It
so,
was a digital.
So
camera?
I was in this multimedia class where we do the morning announcements. Did you ever do that? You ever like a morning?
I knew people that did,
right? You totally did.
Executive producer.
Yep. And you get it's cool because every week they switch off who does like which job, so nobody has like the straight job all the way through. So sometimes. Well, yeah,
maybe if there's not a guy like me in the class.
Yeah, there wasn't.
Yeah,
it was just dudes that needed a class, you know. And if you get to do the intros, which it's like you basically like you make a what's it called when you do like it's like a montage of just different pictures and you pick a song and you edit it around the thing. Yeah, it's like a slideshow. And that's how it would start every Wednesday's morning announcements. And when you get this spot, you take the camera, and for that period, you walk around
everybody
the
was watching morning announcements on TVs in the classrooms?
Yep.
Where did you go to school?
The school called Los Alamitos High.
Wow.
They had TVs in the classroom that
Yeah, Los Alamitos is a very well-to-do area. That's where they keep there's a lot of very wealthy people live down there, so it was a high-end
We only had so many TVs, and you had to check it out from the library. Your teacher did.
Nah, man, we had everything there. Everything.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a well-to-do school.
Yeah, Los Alamitos. That's where they keep isn't that where a lot of the spy stuff is done down there? And that.
In Los Alamitos, they have a Navy base that they have nukes there.
Yeah, well, they do high-end kind of spying stuff. There was a couple spy cases. A guy out of Los Alamitos was trading secrets, and I know that. But that's right. There's top secret stuff. So it's a well-to-do neighborhood. Obviously. And they do have nukes. How many other neighborhoods have nukes?
Yeah, serious,
it's
man.
very important.
Yeah, it was very that was very anxious growing up there because that was always
Cliff
a thing that you could attack it. It's a vulnerable town. But we'd walk around during that period with the camera that you basically, you just take pictures of like stuff from the school, and I was just taking pictures of like my friends. I would like text them like, "Yo, come out, let's get some pictures," and like put it on the morning announcements. I think I picked like a old Fall Out Boy song or something.
How old are you?
I'm 33 right now, and this is in 04.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You were in high school then?
Yeah, man. Why?
I guess I graduated. I'm about to be 35. I graduated in 02.
Oh no, I was.
You must have been one of the first kids to have a phone and to be able to text.
Yeah, man. I remember when that happened. I had a Nokia. Like that was like the first wave of kids getting phones.
You were able to Google your homework assignments, just cut and paste, right?
Yeah. Now, no, I saw to do work, man. I was like the last of that. Like we had to figure that we had to go to the library and shit.
Nice.
Yeah,
But,
I knew the Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did too. Actually, when people ask me how to do a magic trick, I would go 793.8, and I go, "You can find all your answers there." And they go, "What the fuck is that?" I go, "That's the Dewey Decimal System for where they keep all the magic books in the library." That's the truth.
See, I've heard of that. I don't know what that is though.
Well, Dewey Decimal was the guy who came up with the ranking system for how they keep the books in the library.
Oh no shit.
Cliff Clavin.
No. But was his last name really Decimal?
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, Dewey Decimal. That's why it's the Dewey Decimal System. His
Yeah,
last
because
name was Decimal.
that's not what a decimal is.
No, there was always a point like 793 decimal.
Oh, gotcha.
Right.
It was
but his name wasn't
So
Decimal.
it didn't have to be decimal.
I doubt it.
Why don't you Google it after we get done the
Google
fucking
it.
Dewey's probably
It was called the Dewey Decimal System.
It's Dewey's. It's Dewey.
Keep poking the bear. Poke him more, Jessica. All right, so
you can Google it when we get done. You'll find out I'm right. His name was Decimal. He came up with the Dewey Decimal System to keep track of the books in the library.
So where did Dewey come from?
That was his first name, Dewey. And look, and some guy.
His first name was Dubert.
And in the urban areas, they would call him Dewey Decimal. Dewey Decimal. No, it was Dewey Decimal. Dewey was his first name. Decimal was his last name.
Decimal
And the
was his
system
last name.
is the thing he came up with. Put it together, Jessica.
No, I
Put it
hear you.
together.
I think maybe his first name was Dewey.
Am I lying or am I telling the truth
See.
about Dewey Decimal? That was my second story.
I don't think you're lying. That's the lie.
All right, so you're taking pictures.
So I see my English teacher walking into the bathroom, and I'm just like, "Oh, this is fucking gold!" Like
Were
he's
you
in the
using a
bathroom.
film camera or
Just
digital?
no digital. Yeah, man, because you upload it straight to the computer.
Now,
So
did you get a good picture, or was he just standing with the urinal?
Bro, nailed it, and he had no idea. He's at the urinal, and it's just a shot. He didn't even see me come in, which is crazy. Because like anytime you're pissing,
And wouldn't
somebody
you
comes
go over
in.
his shoulder like that? Would you
No,
come in?
so it was like a shot like it was like side from the other side of the bathroom. So like it was one of those things where you zoom in a little bit, but like you could see a fucking shaft and pee coming out of his dick.
How old do you think? I'm not how old, but how long do you think his penis was? How large?
Man, I would say it was a good soft. It was like a good 4 to 5 inches soft. It was kind of meaty,
And they didn't have those.
so I could see it. You know,
Guy was hung like a tuna can. When he lacked in length, he had a circumference.
yeah, he had a tuna can dick.
So you're saying there was no side There was no. You know how there's dividers between the urinals? There was none of those.
Nope, no, man.
No dividers.
It was the long kind that go all take up
go
the wall
all the
way down.
That's one of my favorite things to do, by the way. When you're in a public restroom and they got those dividers.
Take pictures of people?
No. When you're in the restroom and they have those dividers next to the urinals, and like midway, some guy's standing next to you peeing, and you just bang on him and go, "Don't you hate these things?" You know, just as a goof, all the guys peeing. You just bang on the divider. Don't you hate these things? Like you can't get a look at the guy's.
That's actually really funny though.
No, it is funny.
I mean, it's not like we need this.
Yeah, because you don't have a penis. Yeah. No, it's not like you do. But so,
do you think the guy that invented the urinal was called like Ben Urinal? Do you think that's?
Well, I think
urinal was his first name.
That's a good question. His name
was last name.
His name was Stahl. Urinal Stahl. Yeah,
you can look it up. I swear to God,
check it out. Google it. Okay. No, you'll find him. I'm right about the Dewey Decimal. Okay. All right, I had to do a whole report on him when I was in grade school. You'll know that I'm telling the truth.
Okay, so then you were taking.
So I take it and I get it, and I'm like, I couldn't. It was one shot, and I could not believe how well I nailed it. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna fucking kill. Like this is going to kill. Next week it's going to be so. And the plan was I'm going to chop it up and like you know how like in Fight Club where they show like I think it's Brad Pitt's character like he does like this thing where he works at a movie theater and he'll slice up the actual reel and like he'll put like porn like some kind of porn in there but it's really quick so like your brain doesn't quite register it but there is kind of like did I just see a dick? Like, no. And you kind of brush it off.
But they used to do that in the old, like, here I go. They used to do that in old, like a Dr. Pepper commercial, like when we were kids, and they would have, like, Can Girls. They would do, like, these commercial where everyone was dancing in a Dr. Pepper commercial, and then they would stop the camera. I saw this on, like, some kind of thing, and one of the girls didn't have underwear on. They would do, like, subliminal fast things where you're like, I want some Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. Or puss.
Yeah, I'm a pepper. She's a pepper. You're a pepper. Won't you like to be a pepper too?
Here's
Dr.
my pussy.
Yeah, and then they show.
Let's get some Dr. Pepper.
I don't know why. I'm having a craving for Dr. Pepper right now. I just want to. Yeah. So that's.
But yeah. So then okay. So like I go and I have to edit the video. And I do it, and I sneak it in there, and it's really cool, man. Like, it actually works. And I told people. Like, which probably was...
the wrong thing to do.
But I told the right people.
Them to be looking out for it.
Like, the close homies need to know. Or else this is not worth it. You know what I mean?
Right,
like, why would I put myself on the line? So, enough people knew, and they were so excited. But I have to cut it up, and before you air it, the teacher has to watch it. So, the teacher had to watch, basically, the thing, and I had to see if they caught it. So, like... I had a buddy in the class that I let in on it. The one guy I let in on it in the class. Like I had friends scattered throughout the school, but in that class was one guy who's a good friend I could trust. Okay. So he was like all about it. And the plan was the class watches it together while the teacher's watching it. So I told him like, you know, at this minute, at whatever minute mark it was, like, you know, like cough or like do something, you know, like. And so he did, and like so it came in, and it's coming. I know when it's coming, and then like it flashes, and he coughs, and then keeps going. I'm thinking, yes. And she's like, pause that. And she's like, all right, rewind it. And I rewind it a little bit more. Rewind it too much. Okay, fast forward a little bit. Stop. And then there it is, clear as day, zoomed in. The class loses it. Like, I kill a little bit earlier than I wanted to, you know? Like, it worked. I got the laughs I needed to hear. But the imagination of this was like the whole school, you know, eventually catching it. At least like a lot of people. And then, so she's, you know, now I'm in huge trouble. Because it's not even about, you know, the stupid prank I pulled. Like, I just took a picture of my teacher's dick.
Right.
So now we're going to get cops involved.
And
like,
now he posted it online, and now he has to register as a sex offender.
So they threw sex offender in my face all the time, man. They threw it. So finally, like, no, I'll delete it. She's like, all right, you better delete it. So I delete it, and then I put it back. Because, like, my thing is...
Are you serious?
I deleted it, and she watched it, and then it was just like one of those things where I asked my buddy Chris, who I told this to, I was like, yo, man, like, I could probably put it back in, right? Because it seemed like I wasn't going to get in trouble. It seemed like all I had to do was delete it. So he's like, I mean, technically, but you really want to... I was like, I already told too many people, man. Like, it's like too many, like, I didn't want to let anybody down. I didn't want to let my fans down, you know?
So then you put it back in, and
so I put it back in, and she didn't to watch that version of it. So then it's out. It's ready to be. Next Wednesday it's going to happen. So the weekend happens. I tell everybody and tell them like when in the song it's going to come. And so I'm in a different class come that Wednesday morning. They show it first period, and so I'm in I think some history class, and there's a few guys that know that this is coming. So
I like there's a few guys.
There's a few guys, man. And I'm just saying, like it's one of those this is gonna be. I love sleepover laughs. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're sleeping over and dad's asleep, when you're a kid and
right.
you don't want to laugh loud. It's hard to not laugh,
right?
Because you're there's a weird pressure. So I was kind of going for that. I was giddy, ooh, here it comes, and then. It plays, and here comes the part. It happens, and mind you, most of the class is unaware, but there's a few people. So when it happens, there's scattered through the class. There's exactly what I needed for then. So I'm oh, and it felt so good. Video, I get through the whole morning announcement plays, and then they wheel the TV out, and then the teacher starts, and then on the loudspeaker. Mat Edgar, please report to the principal's office. And I get there, and first of all, and the reason why it took the whole class, because I was surprised it took that long for I walk in, there's my dad.
Oh.
Just looking I just left work for this shit. And on the table of my principal's, and on the desk, a giant blown up, they actually printed it out and blew it up.
Wait a minute. What kind of printer did they have? Because
good question. It was black and white.
Yeah,
it wasn't
Was it the?
Yeah, man. It was it was loud.
So they froze it. They printed the image. Your dad's sitting there in the principal's office, and you're getting ready to get expelled.
And this is not. Yeah, man. And it's they're talking sex offender. They're saying things cops, and actually the principal was a former cop who still
Was the teacher there that you took the picture?
So
of?
he's teaching a class. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So when he
but they
gets
didn't
word
pull
of it.
him out?
No, they didn't. So eventually they did though. So that happened.
Yeah, they should get sex
home.
offender charges for printing out his dick and putting it out before they told him.
Well, but this literally happens while he's in class.
You've also violated his civil rights by taking a picture of his dick and putting
it's
it out
fucking
there.
Right, but then on top of that, they printed it.
Yeah, there's
and
that.
blew it
Easy,
up.
Cliff Clavin.
This is
Cliff
2000. This is 2004. Nothing like this has happened, so they don't know how to even deal with this. They just know it is it falls under the guise of sexual predator,
Well, that's
right?
what happens with those new laws now because of all the digital technology and the people revenge porn, and all that stuff. That is a violation.
Huge, big time.
If they're not, I mean, only if they're famous. That can you then release it as because it's kind of considered. They're already famous,
right? But this guy, Mr. Doran, dude, and I will always give this guy props, man, because he's my English teacher. I actually had a class with him that day. So by the time I have the class, with word's already spread, and I think I go home that day. But I think the next day or the next couple of days, whenever they let me back in school, word had already gotten around, and everybody knew that this thing, and I'm still waiting.
Was he cool about it?
So this is how cool he was. So not only did he not press charges or anything like that, he ran with it, man. When I came into class, he on his way to school, he stopped by a 7-Eleven, bought a Porsche, a magazine that just all these expensive Porsches. He's like, I'm just trying to see what do I want to get with this settlement here? And he's just really playing into the fact that he's going to sue me, and the class is loving it, and they're and he's being funny about it. He not only gets it.
So when you went to the class, that's what he was.
It was
doing.
a joke,
right?
And he was so. That's why they didn't press charges. No, man, no. That's kind of funny that he was able to pull that off. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, and not to mention we're gonna go ruin some kid's life because as far as pranks go, that was a harmless fucking prank. The dude his dick got some publicity.
I was gonna say,
he got some meat.
It must have been true that he had a pretty sizable dick, or he would have.
He had no problem with it.
Right,
you know what I mean?
The guy definitely wasn't hung like a button on a fur coat. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It was worth
Easy, Cliff Clavin. Easy, Mrs. Cliff Clavin. Easy.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, and I'm taking it all the way back to you said there were TVs in the room.
Yeah.
So they actually rolled in TVs into all the separate classrooms, and after announcement, rolled them back out.
So every classroom had a TV, and it was on a kind of like a gurney. I don't know what you'd call it, but
it was strapped down.
You would when I say you roll it in, I mean like you roll it back to the side of the room.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, it was. There were double decker. They were like double. They were double decker, and it had like a little, so you would slide them in the corner when you had to watch stuff.
Underneath.
Yeah, exactly. And he had all the equipment on. So, but you would then leave it back in the corner, like he said.
But I also have other questions because about your digital camera.
Yeah.
That's pretty early for a school to have.
I don't think I had a
camera.
digital camera until I was in the Air Force.
My school had it.
That's
all.
02.
Yeah, but he was in Los.
03.
Look at my school had a surf class. My school had actually the football team was really established football team.
So it was a very well-to-do school.
Can I just say we were a brand new school with the TV production class that I was in, and we shot on tape up until my sophomore year, which was 2010.
Shit. Nah, man, we had all the shit by then.
Wow. Did you have any questions about his story, Jimmy?
No, I actually it makes sense to me.
Okay.
Both of our stories are kind of sexual.
Yeah, but I was just
yours
curious.
Is way cool.
But I was just curious why. Yeah, he was in the I remember one night I jerked off 4 times in a row. I was part of the audiovisual group. No, the AV group.
You leave Austin alone.
No, but it was.
4 is a low number.
Hey, easy, Cliff Clavin. No, but it seems
Who is Cliff Clavin?
like you got to ask that fucking question.
Yeah, you keep saying Cliff Clavin.
You know who Cliff Clavin is?
She called me Cliff Clavin.
You don't either? You don't, Austin?
Oh, Jesus.
We're old.
Who the fuck is Cliff Clavin?
There was a little show called Cheers. And Cliff Clavin was the fucking mailman who knew a little bit about everything.
Okay.
And she was calling me Cliff Clavin. Here's the thing about that. The guy was a fucking drunk that sat at a bar and would know a little bit about everything.
Right.
But he was a fucking alcoholic. Where everybody knows your name. And the guy's a fucking drunk. So, it's not for everybody. Right.
Okay, so anyway, do you have any questions, Jessica?
Well, I was a little concerned about the digital camera, like you said, but I'm thinking because I know when I first got into the Air Force, I bought a digital camera, and granted, it wasn't great,
no,
and it was slower, and you know all of that didn't hold that many pictures, but that would have been 03, 04, so I think that time frame works out.
Yeah,
I worked at a digital capture firm in around 2004, 2005, and so.
What is a digital
capture firm is like so now when they go shoot photography on a set, right? They're using digital cameras, but they're shooting at such a high resolution that they would tether to the computer instead of putting a card.
So it downloads into a hard drive.
So it downloads right to the computer, and then so I worked at this place. It was called Image Mechanics in Santa Monica. So that's why I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around 2003, 2004.
Yeah, and it wasn't like an SD card thing either. We actually had to plug it in to the computer with a plug, like with a cord.
The camera had a hard drive on it itself, so there was no.
All right,
way to
you've answered my question. All right,
So
all right. Let's go to your second story.
All right, second story. I'm gonna tag off. I'm gonna tag off of his high school story.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a high school story during the 8th grade.
Oh, we're going way back.
Yeah, why not? So you guys check. I ran for president of student council
in 8th grade.
In 8th grade,
Okay.
it was because it was a part of our thing to get involved with politics, and so I was running against 2 other guys, Chucky Kensel and John O'Malley, and I wound up winning and become president. I was president of student council in the 8th grade for about 3 months. I eventually resigned because there was really nothing to do. It was just like some kind of bullshit thing, but I did run for president of student council. We had debates, we had the whole thing, and so I was president of student council in 8th grade for about 3 months before I hung up. But I had posters everywhere in school and won the presidency, and then of course resigned under a veil of there was
so Watergate scandal.
Although it was a touchy-feely scandal.
And Monica Lewinsky.
I had a Monica Lewinsky situation
before it was cool.
Yeah, I got Me Too before it was cool. Exactly right. Well, no, because there was just nothing to do. I mean, it was really just kind of like they weren't going to let you do anything. They weren't going to let you change anything. One of the things I ran on was changing the color of the money because everybody had their money over in like overseas bank accounts. So I thought, well, fuck, if we change the color of money, they got to bring all that money back. We could tax it.
Change the money. As a student president, body president, you thought you could change the color of the United States
It was an exercise in political like stuff. Like, what would you do if you were actually president? None of that, guys. We were running for president of the school, and we'd talk about that. And, of course, I took some heat for that about me, you, and your red, white, and blue money. What are you going to do? I go, well, a lot of people. But my dad helped me with a lot of this stuff. I mean, he was in 8th grade. He was trying to run for president. Me and my buddy would make posters and have them all over, and so I was president of student council in the 8th grade.
So that's it. That's your story.
That's my story.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go into detail?
Is that how you learned about Dewey Decimal?
That's exactly how we learned about politics in America. Was that we would run for political office.
And you're saying your dad helped you come up with the idea that as an 8th grade student body president, you could change the color of money to red, white, and blue.
Well, he was talking about the fact that we have a lot of people that have all this money in overseas bank accounts. They have them in the Cayman Islands. They have them in Switzerland. And if you change the color of the money, then eventually what would happen is those people would have to take those money out of those accounts, bring it back into America. You could or change.
Oh, because back then it wasn't all electric. They actually had like boxes of money.
Exactly. Gotcha. And so what you could do is they would have to come in, take the money out of those accounts, change it in for the new money. You would get an accurate account. You could tax it properly, and then they could put their money back into the the Cayman Islands.
What the fuck are you talking about?
That's like Alex Jones. I mean, it's like, how did the Cayman Islands get into this?
There you go. Some old bullshit. What kind of story is that? You actually ran on that platform in the 8th grade?
Yeah,
that you were going to change the color of money of the United States of America? What kind of crazy ass story is that?
Because I wasn't, your typical fucking 8th grader. Number one, I wanted to push the boundaries. Number one, I was very sexually advanced. I was finger painting with my tongue in kindergarten. The teacher fucking liked some of my artwork. I mean, I wasn't like that. Was it. That was it. I read.
Did you have to do a speech?
Yeah, I had to do a speech. They had votes. They had the whole thing. It was a real.
Now, did you win in the landslide? I'm sorry.
I ran in a landslide.
Because I too ran for assistant secretary in middle school, and I had to do a speech. It was right during the O.J. Simpson trial, so I ended it with, "If you don't object, you must elect Jessica Wellington."
Nice. Did you win?
I fucking got a standing ovation. It was that
nice.
was good.
Yeah,
felt
glorious.
Wow.
Warriors.
But I didn't have real issues. I was just like, I'm fucking cool. Vote for me.
Yeah. Well, they made us come up with the issues. I mean, I had a really active when I grew up with 6 brothers, so we were always the thing about growing up in a big family. You're always out doing your own thing. You're trying to find your own identity, so you don't have what they call litter syndrome, where everybody if you raise puppies or from the same litter, they get they just hang out with each other. They don't even try or whatever it is.
Oh
so
God.
Everybody was trying. My brother played.
You're familiar with puppy raising, yes?
What's that? Cliff
Your
Clavin.
analogies are just ridiculous.
I think your brothers beat on your head too much, and you came up with that fucking scheme. Changing the color of money as an 8th grade president.
It could have been something that he heard his dad complaining about.
There was actually some validity to it.
I see what he's saying. I get what you're saying.
You really see
I really do.
Yeah.
What is he saying?
Because they literally had money in safety deposit boxes. It wasn't just an account.
And not only that, there was a lot of
let me ask you this: what was your platform in 8th grade? What was the big thing you were going to do if you got elected?
I didn't have a thing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I didn't
she
have
was the treasury. She was running for the treasury.
But still, we didn't have a big thing. I just wanted to do the speech. I don't even remember if I did anything after that.
I was class president 3 out of my 4 years in high school, and 8th grade year I ran on the platform of you might end up like Chris Farley living in a van down by the river if you don't vote for me. So I can attest to that. I don't think there was any real stance that you had to take, if you run for a class council.
Well, it was really an exercise in the history of the country and how well you understood politics. And also, when you're running against these other guys that were pretty popular, you had to push boundaries and come up with stuff that made you stood out in the group. I mean, I had bottle cap posters all over the fucking.
Go for it.
But everybody,
we had butcher paper with bottle caps and fucking blue glitter. Vote for Shub. He's no rube.
But
all the stuff.
Everybody.
Shut up! Shut the fuck up!
I'm selling my fucking. We would make these.
By the way, that's the true story. Establish that right now.
There we go. Okay.
All right. So
Can't believe for a second I thought you got laid 4 times in one night.
I know, that's what I was just thinking. I was just thinking. So if we're saying that this story is a lie, then the first story is he got 4 ladies in one night.
And you know how I got him in bed? I convinced them to change the color of their money.
Yeah.
I convinced them to change their money to red, white, and blue money. I'm just kidding.
Shub, he's no Rube.
Vote for Shub. He's no Rube. Come on, vote for Shub. That was my.
Wow. All right. So your second story.
Bullshit. Sorry. Me and Tony Hinchcliffe got arrested in Texas
I love it. Continue.
at a Whataburger.
Even better.
This is
Is that a
post-show.
real thing? Whataburgers?
Yes,
Yeah,
delicious.
yeah.
Fucking
They had a
serious?
Whataburger in Lakeland.
You don't know who Cliff Clavin is? You don't know Whataburger's real? Do some research, Kurt.
Well, Whataburger though. I don't know how you go on the road.
How do you not know?
Aren't
I've
there,
never
are there
been to a
Whataburgers
Whataburger.
in Florida?
There was one
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the
There's
Southwest.
Whataburgers all
But
over
they're
the
just
place.
along. Yeah, man, it's something you do. It's just how they're out there, especially if you're driving for long enough.
they're
You'll
late
find a
night,
Whataburger.
and they're late night, so
Yeah,
you can get them
24 hour.
like 24 hours. Cracker Barrel is another kind of road staple.
Yeah, I know
If you
Crackle
wanna-
Barrel.
if you wanna-
Waffle House. I worked at the Waffle House.
Yeah, fuck the Waffle House. I want a home cooked meal. I'm going to Cracker Barrel. It's a little, yeah, it's right now. We got something doing. What's with that look? You want a smothered chopped diced color? Okay,
Yeah.
I
All
get it.
right. So
Yeah.
you guys are at a Whataburger. Sorry, I'm
this is-
trying to control
this is
here.
after. So okay, just so you know, me and Tony are. This is God, man. We might have been doing stand up for 4 years, 3-4 years. We're featuring for Steve Trevino, and we're in his hometown of Portland, Texas, which is like South Texas. And we did a gig in Corpus Christi, and now we are headed to his family has like property up in Portland, which is like just like a couple towns over. Stop at a Whataburger. Mind you, we had a ride for the night. Trevino's friend that came with us was the mayor of the city, Portland, Texas, and he's sober and we're shit-faced.
Uh-huh.
We did a show and then we hung after, and me, Steve, and Tony are fucking on one. And I don't know where Steve is. I think he's outside smoking a cigarette, and me and Tony are in line, and we start arguing, and it's stupid. It's like a drunken, dumb. I remember what it was about too. He said I was a cock blocker, and I'm like, I've never cock blocked you, and then just kind of escalated. And
Tony said you were a cock blocker?
I was a cock blocker. I mean, nobody's ever said that to me. Like, what the? I think it's like. I think I told him what kind of turned it into we ended up getting in a fight.
Well, this is pre-Tony, pre-fancy shoe Tony. And
Yeah, man. This is like he's still washing off Ohio. He's still washing off Youngstown. There's man. Like he doesn't. And he goes, and I said something like, "No, man, you just can't get laid, and you're blaming me." And then it's like, "Oh, I can't get laid," and then it just kind of got. I don't know. We just started. Swelling up to each other, man. And we were drunk, and it was all fun and games, man. And we're in line at a Whataburger.
Yeah.
Now, behind us sitting down is a cop waiting for his food.
That you guys are unaware of.
Completely unaware of,
he's
man.
sitting there.
And he's sitting there, and we're just kind of like, and I remember Tony said something to me, and I was like, in a place in my head where I was like, we have a whole drive home back. We drove to Texas.
Okay.
We had to drive back. We'll be able to amends me punching him in his face somewhere along the next 12-hour ride.
Right.
I could punch him right now, and we could get in a fight, and then sometime tomorrow we'll be chill and laugh about this in LA. So I'm literally getting ready. I think that's what got the cops' attention. Is my feet are changing, like my footing. Like I'm getting ready to just start going, man. I'm just drunk enough, and he's being loud. Like I wasn't loud at first. He raised his voice, so kind of we're both crossing lines. You know what I mean? Like I'll cross one, then he'll cross one, and it's coming all the way to the fisticuffs. So finally, as I'm swelling up, I'm getting ready to cock it. This out of nowhere, man. This cop who had been there the whole time is like, all right, both of you back off, and he kind of pushes me. And Tony doesn't make the read that, he kind of looks like a security guard. Like, maybe this is Whataburger security, 24 hours in the middle of Texas.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It would make sense, right? So Tony starts mouthing off to him as if he's a security guard.
Oh, no.
And then Tony kind of is also looking out for me, you're gonna punch him, and he's like, no, we're friends. Like he said something like that to the cops. So that motivated me to stick up for Tony. Mind you, I can't stress it enough how drunk we all were. It was stupid.
Okay.
So we So he pushes us off of each other, and I think I say something else, and finally he's like, if you guys gonna keep it up, I'm gonna take you to jail. Like, Tony goes, you can't take us to jail, you fat. They're like, whatever, man. Like, just like start insulting him, thinking security. What are you gonna do, right? And they, bust out the handcuffs. We're going to jail. Like, he's starting. No, we're going. I'm a cop, and his ID, and we're like, oh fuck, dude. We were just talking shit to a cop. Steve comes in. You go, whoa, what's going on? He's like, I'm arresting your friends. He's like, why? And like, they're fighting. They're talking shit. And no, and he's like trying to stop it. There's just too much. We said too much mean shit to this guy.
Yeah.
He's taking us in to teach us Cali boys a lesson, right?
Right.
So we go to the jail. Steve's gone now. Who was like, this guy is like looking out for us. We have zero road experience, really. Like, he's kind of like the veteran showing us how to do shit. Now he's gone, and we don't know. We're in Texas. We're being booked. We go to a cell, and we sit in there. It's fucking the same thing you always hear about jail cells, how fucking cold it is. You don't even know.
Cold and disgusting.
It smells like urine.
Fucking sandwiches in the fucking toilet, flies, bugs, insects.
And there's some real fucking psychopaths in there, man.
Oh, yeah.
And we're just among them, dude. And we're like kind of coming down from being drunk, so it's like it's not fun anymore. And we end up spending the night there. And then early in the morning, Steve comes and picks us up. Like, I guess like without telling us, they contacted Steve. It's like, hey man, you could pick up your friends, and they came. And just to put us through it more, they wouldn't tell us. So like, I think I was like kind of dozing off when they like, all right, you guys could go. And there's Steve, and we're going, and we're driving back to like literally straight from the jail to California. And we get a few miles down the road. Steve's pissed, man, because like he kind of got into it with the cop too, and wanted to like. He's like, I'm from here, man. And like, this is the mayor of Portland, because the mayor was trying to talk to the cop, but I guess we were just out of range, like out of his jurisdiction. So there's nothing the mayor could even do. So we're driving. So he calls this police station, and he's like, hey man. And he actually knew the sheriff of this where we got arrested. So he's talking to the sheriff, and he's like, hey man, what happened to my friends? And he's like, well, and this is like as Texas as it gets. And he's on speakerphone now. And this is like, we're in the back seat, kind of shamed. And I don't know why Steve like made us both sit in the back seat
because you were used to it from the cop car.
Yeah, exactly.
And
there's like nobody up front. He's like, no, you guys get in the back. And like, we had to sit back there.
You guys are gonna be criminals? Sit in the back.
So we're driving down the road, and he's talking to the chief, and he's like, and Steve's like, all right, well, what did you hear? And Steve's like, well, apparently your friends are a couple of faggots got in a fight at a Whataburger. Like, literally use like a couple of faggots got in a fight at a Whataburger, and then we just die. Steve's just dying. Everybody's laughing. The cop, you can hear the sheriff laughing because he just caught himself saying that, Right. And it's like this thing where we get home, and Steve had to. So basically, I guess like when we were leaving, like Steve like kind of like got mad and like punched a window and like cracked the window on the way out.
Right.
And which the cop didn't. Yeah, but the cop didn't see this. But he had to come back and like pay for that. He had to come back another time and go through because they wanted to press charges at him.
Right.
The only way they're going to accept it is if he showed up in person to give him money. So he had to drive like a week later, had to make the ride alone without us and go pay this Whataburger break for broken glass and shit.
All right. Now you got me. Yeah. But I'm going to believe the second story over the first.
Well,
all right.
I'm going to tell you, he's a good storyteller.
Yeah, he is.
Because
really
both of them had such detail in it.
Yeah.
Well, I know how to lie too, man. I know where to put the
his girlfriend
detail.
really appreciates that as well.
Here's my problem with that story is that Johnny Hardwick was on the podcast, and he told a real story about getting arrested in Austin, Texas for busking.
What's that?
Street performer.
Street performer.
Oh.
Yeah. And he got arrested, and he got stuck in the system, and so it went bad. So when you're telling me that you're in South Texas, and that you two, Tony Hinchcliffe, in particular, is mouthing off to a cop that you guys were released a few hours later.
Yeah, spent the rest of the night.
Well, because they didn't actually fight.
Well, first off, it's happened to me. They release you first thing in the morning.
It was more of a drunken thing.
On your own recognizance. And they put you in a drunk tank till you sober up, and then they release you first thing in the morning.
There was a comic that just got a DUI in San Diego, and she did 12 hours and was released.
Yeah, but that's San Diego. I'm saying Texas.
Texas is more.
Yeah, LA comic, they got a DUI in San Diego. Yeah, it's tough down there. You can't.
Did you want to say something, Austin?
No, I'm a little confused about when did the cops say there was 2 gay guys?
This is on the drive. So this is after we got picked up from jail, driving back to California.
Couple of faggots got in a fight at the Whataburger.
Steve calls the sheriff that he knows. And the sheriff is telling the story of apparently a couple of faggots got in a fight at a Whataburger.
Okay. I gotcha.
And has no idea we're on speakerphone, just dying.
I totally believe that story.
This is a really good time just to say to everybody who's watching.
Oh, you forgot.
I know. The stories and positions taken on this podcast are not and should not be reflected upon the Comedy Store. Okay, so that's all I got to say.
These some of these stories are true, and some of these stories are false, and the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Actually, I haven't changed the names at all.
Do we want to let Austin do our
so do you want to recap all stories real quickly, Austin?
Sure, yeah. So first for Jimmy, we have after a 2-week run with Sam Kinison in Vegas, Jimmy was 26, had a mullet, and a 32-inch waist. There was a girl that went up to his There was a girl that went up to his room, and she had to bang and leave because she had a babysitter at home. There was no Facebook, Jessica. Emptied the man batter out of the flesh musket with another girl between shows.
Hold on. This is new. Having this, that's great. This is great. This is just the guy to do this.
So
long and short of it.
Not to repeat, but emptied the man batter out of the flesh musket with another girl between shows. And then it happened again with an Olympic Garden stripper who flashed him out of a trench coat at the front door.
With that skinky ass lingerie outfit she had on, working the shift all day.
That was the last one of the evening. Yes, correct.
He was noodle dicked because
I wasn't noodle dick. I had a powder woody. Difference between noodle dick and powder woody. Powder woody, rock hard, fucking noodle dick. You can't fuck. All right. So difference between
is it powder woody?
Powder woody from the booger sugar. Yeah, fucking that 32-inch waist. Your cock gets rock hard, and you just fucking gut sausages.
That makes okay.
So sausage wallets.
So redacted noodle dick. He was power woody.
Thank you.
Or powder.
Get the facts straight.
Because he'd been through so much wild poon over the evening.
That's great.
And this particular Saturday night, he wound up passionately making sweet love to women with his powder woody, and he did in fact wrap up supposedly and pulled out with the whole condom on. So Jessica had concerns about where were the condoms from. Jimmy said he has them handy all the time. And do you have kids? No, he does not, as far as he knows.
Okay, all right.
Story 2 for Jimmy here, much shorter.
Yes, I have concerns about that.
Yeah, 8th grade high school. He ran, which was 8th grade high school.
No, 8th grade. 8th grade was 8th grade, right before you went to high school.
Oh, well, you
Where
said
the fuck you go to school?
Oh, good
you said
point,
high school.
Austin.
I was just,
Good
did.
point.
All right,
did.
I'm
Ken
sorry.
did.
Let me clarify. I was president of the 8th grade in.
So, okay, that makes sense.
You just got mommed again.
Okay, so continue.
Ran
Austin.
for president student council 8th grade. He said high school. It didn't mean high school. He ran against Chucky Council was the name that I heard, and John O'Malley. Seemed like really made up names to
That
me.
does,
but I'm not,
doesn't it?
I'm not
Yeah.
making this.
Old O'Malley.
Oh shit! Oh no!
He resigned
Look,
after.
he can't lie. Look.
He resigned after 3 months because there was not shit to do, and he ran on changing the color of money because it was like a mob stance. He had to have one.
Wow. I become a better storyteller. I'm going to take Mat Edgar School of Storytelling. I'll just brush up my stories a
So
little
he
bit.
gave a speech. That was shortly after he finger painted with his tongue in kindergarten. And vote for Shub. He's no Rube.
Bravo!
Yes.
Bravo.
Yes.
So that's.
Well put.
Do we want to go with
Yes. What
his
is
notes
what?
as well?
Yeah. What
Yes,
is Matt's story?
cool.
Okay. Matt's in high school. Matt got kicked out of 2 classes, nearly expelled for sneakily photographing his male teacher peeing. No dividers between the urinals, so he saw the shaft of the actual penis. Probably 4 to 5 inches hung and meaty.
Soft.
Soft, yeah, I should have added that. He aired that on the morning news show at school, and he couldn't wait to vaguely show the dick. He told his close homies to be on the lookout for the dick. Now, this is 2004. He's 33 now. Used to text his buddies to come hang in the hall. He told his buddy to cough when it happened in another class, and his teacher paused it and said, and it killed, the joke killed, but he was in trouble, obviously, because the teacher was like, pause, there's the dick. So she told him delete it. He didn't delete it. He put it back in there. So next class, he's in there. And, oh, by the way, they've been throwing sex offender in his face all the time. Like they're calling him, you're a sex offender, pervert, freak. And then it plays a second time. He's in history class. He got some chuckles, some little hee-hees, which is really more what he wanted because he knows that's like rippling throughout the school. And then got called to the office where his dad and a giant dick pic of his teacher was waiting for him.
Mr. Black and white
white dick pic. Not that the dick was black and white, but that the picture itself was black and white.
And no, go ahead with the recap. I guess
just 2 more sentences on the first story there. Mr. Dorn was this English teacher's name, and he ended up making a joke about it, so there was no charges pressed, and he was no longer a sex offender by law.
Okay, and the second story?
The second story, Matt and Tony Hinchcliffe got arrested in Texas at a Whataburger while featuring for Steve Trevino in Portland, Texas. The mayor came to hang with them, and they were fucked up. Tony got mad because Matt's a cockblock. And this was
I'm not.
And this was pre-fancy shoe Tony. Like, this is not fancy shoe Tony because he's still washing the Ohio off, as Matt said. So Matt said, you just can't get laid. You're blaming me. And that's when things got a little more heated, and it went from like 0 to 100 in a second. And little did they know, there's a cop sitting right there behind them, like waiting for his food. They don't even know it. And they're both crossing lines with each other, heading to fisticuffs, I believe was the word Matt used.
Good usage of that old school word.
Yeah.
And yet you didn't know who Cliff Clavin was.
Nope.
Well, they were getting ready to go straight to fisticuffs. And cops break him up, pushes Matt and Tony start like mouthing off to the cop, insulting him, saying, "You little fat ass, you can't say nothing to me. You're a security guard. You ain't no cop."
See, I missed that.
Yeah, well, he started to say fat. And he like stopped.
I'm trying to remember what we said, but we did offend his weight and how he looked and stupid stuff, surface stuff
from a fat guy. That's
like they treated him like a heckler on a Friday night.
As drunk as we, that's the best we could do. It was not good.
Unnecessary, man.
Okay.
Totally unnecessary.
Totally.
So Steve picks him up, makes him sit in the back seat like Miss Daisy. He calls the Portland sheriff guy that he knows, Portland, Texas, not Oregon. And the Portland sheriff guy says, "Hey, we have some fags redacted, some gay folks at the Whataburger about to fight," and that got a big chuckle. At all the
fags redacted. We can go with phallically dependent on this one. A couple phallically dependent individuals pushing each other.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Good.
And
wow.
That was it.
Okay, wow.
Jeez.
So,
Totally summed it up nicely.
That was
great, man.
Good job, you. So, what do you think, Jessica?
Well, see, now I'm curious too. Whenever you did the dick pic, there would have been, I think you would have had some gasps throughout the whole school. Wouldn't you have heard that instead of not just little laughs? You would have been like, wouldn't you, like the whole school, like,
and this was pre-dick pic, by the way. This
So-
was early dick pic.
But also, my friends are the only ones I told, and I don't want it to get out beyond them because
yeah,
then
but
I'll
you
get
don't
in
think
trouble.
other people saw it?
So I'm sure other people might, but it was like the point was to flash it so you'd be like, what? Like those other people.
That's my question. Okay, when you flashed it the first time, like for how long did it flash?
Oh, God, a second, maybe not even a full second.
So I don't understand if you did it the second time that you didn't think maybe I should shave a little bit.
Right,
hair
or
off.
maybe put it
like
in a different
milliseconds,
place.
you mean?
Yeah.
I think I might have, but the point is that you still, if you didn't know, it would just be like that Fight Club scene where it was just like, you'll brush it off.
Right.
So the people that knows, they know that also not to get their boy in trouble. So that's why I brought up the sleepover dad laugh, because it's like you're trying to not laugh.
Right. And
so rather than a gasp, it's more of a...
Here's my other question. So, how was it, like a kneecap to head kind of picture? Like
full frame, yeah.
It was from feet to his
all
head.
the way up, yeah.
Yeah.
I got floor
and by flashing quickly on a picture from someone from their feet to their head, you in that second see the penis.
You know what? I think if
you know what I mean?
Probably not. You just see him at a urinal,
right?
Oh,
so I saw I actually
with a stream of urine. With a stream of urine.
Yeah, but you probably don't even see that.
But so I know that
quickly.
I know that because I zoomed in.
Right.
I zoomed in to make sure I got it.
It wasn't from the head to the toe.
No, the full picture.
Story's coming apart at the same.
The picture that I posted, the picture I posted was the original, not zoomed in. It was this.
Okay.
On my own time, I zoomed in to make sure I got, just to know I got it. And also when they printed it out and I got the full, like they blew up this picture and that's the whole picture. It's not zoomed in. In that, you could clear as day see his dick with pee coming out of the hole.
Nice.
What angle is this? What angle is the picture?
This is if you're
side angle.
Side angle, man. If you're peeing and there's a guy peeing over here. You're looking like this.
So can you walk me into this bathroom?
Yeah.
Like
2 entrances. So you could go. So I see him go in one, and I follow actually right behind. No, you know what? I think. Wow, man! I just remembered this little detail. When he walked in one, I wanted to give him time and not seem like I followed him. So I actually walked around and came through the other entrance. So it kind of was like I just really wanted to be secretive.
And he didn't hear when the shutter went off?
That's
when
I
the
knew.
shutter went off
No,
to
there
the
was
camera? He didn't hear?
No,
His urine was so loud it drowned out the shutter of the camera?
I don't think there was a shutter noise. It was digital. You could turn that off. You just press it.
No, dude.
There's no shutter.
No,
Dude.
No.
Hey, mind you.
Story's coming apart at the seams, bro.
Mind you. I mean,
you was a good storyteller, but now the cross-examination.
I don't think you need a shutter.
Well, now, can we let some people in on a little insight from what happened just before the show started?
Sure.
So Mat Edgar had said out plainly, out loud, "Oh man, I forgot to bring my lie. That's okay. I'll just steal somebody else's story."
Oh yeah.
Now, was that a ploy to like make us think that the Tony Hinchcliffe one wasn't true when it was?
I know, yeah,
that's interesting. So you think I actually planted this lie before the show?
Yeah.
You actually are giving me so much more credit. You're making me out to be
told
like a real good, like psychopath liar.
Maybe he told the true story first because he hadn't thought of his lie, right? And then when Jimmy did his story, he was thinking about it. And the Steve Trevino story is true, but it may be other comics than Tony Hinchcliffe.
But what if the second story is true? It's completely true, but he wanted to throw us off. So once he sat down, he automatically went, "Oh no, I better switch it around then," because they know.
Well, okay.
I could see why I would think that.
When do we weigh in?
We're going to take a vote right now on his stories. What do you think? Which story do you think is the
I think
truth?
the second story is true.
Okay. Arrested story.
The arrested story. I want to say that the second story is true too, but it really messes me up that
there
you
wasn't
guys
like
got
a
in and out of
shutter
jail like that so quick.
No, they let you go. I'm telling you. Second story on your own recognizance, you're a grown man. So I don't give a fuck. I mean, they let you go.
They deal with. You got to.
They're overfilled.
They deal with a lot of drunks in Texas, man. They know that they turn the drunks over. All I was drunk. I mean, at the end of the day, we didn't assault the cop. We didn't assault each other. It became about we insulted the cop.
Yeah. Which is why they went to jail.
So, like, what can I get you on?
To teach you a lesson.
Oh, you're drunk in public right now. Yeah.
And I totally believe Steve Trevino would know the mayor. I also believe that he would call and try to get them out.
I'm going to vote with Jimmy.
Yeah,
I say the second story is true.
I think Steve Trevino wouldn't let you sit there. Some guys would have let you stay in jail, but Steve Trevino went and got you guys. So
as soon as he could.
As soon as he could, yeah. So I believe that. I believe that story.
What do you think, Austin?
I got to side with you guys on the second story, and I was just kind of going forensically. The first story, you were way more shaky. Now, I know that you have like a little bit of a shaky hand as it is, but the first one you seemed a little bit more shaky. Like you
don't think it could be me dusting off the cobwebs of talking on a podcast? This is the first story. This is the first time I'm telling the story. The second time I tell a story, it's way more smooth. If you've had multiple sets in a night, the first one's not as smooth all the time as the second one.
I just have a tough time believing you were taking a picture of the teacher's fucking dick.
I didn't get in trouble.
I have a tough time.
Sure.
I had a tough time.
It's kind of unbelievable.
And
that part is unbelievable that I didn't get in that much trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought, right?
No,
right?
but that's.
I don't know how to turn the shutter off of my own digital camera.
By the way, the camera did not look like that, guys. It was a little fucking like early.
It actually had one of those square things in it. One of those floppies in it. You had to push to the side.
Yep.
And it wrote the pictures on the side of it.
So you actually, rather than look in it, it had a screen that you push out this way.
Right.
And so. Which I don't even, now looking back, I don't even know what that would do, but the screen comes out over here, so the camera looks like a camera with a screen that sticks out to the side. Just giving you a little extra detail.
Right. I'm going to stick with, God, I want to say that first story is a lie. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to say that first story is a lie and the Steve Trevino story is the truth. Jessica?
I'm going to say, I think just to go to opposite now, even though I convinced you the other way. I'm going to say that the first story's true, that you took the dick pic, and the second one is a lie.
Okay.
And what is it?
The first story's true. The second story, there's seeds of truth, but Trevino got arrested, not me and Tony.
Because Steve was drunk.
We all were drunk. Steve, when the fight started, the cop came to us, Steve tried to break the cop off of us fighting, and in so got in a fight with the cop. So he went to jail. We had to spend the night with some random mayor.
That's
random mayor.
Some random mayor. Yeah. All right, man. You changed the details, but there was some accuracy. See, that I could believe. That story where you changed the details slightly. Very well done.
You know, the biggest thing that I almost unconvinced myself about was I couldn't have pictured Tony Hinchcliffe getting arrested by messing with a cop. Like maybe drugs.
We're kids, man.
No,
we're 23 years old. You know, like
I could totally see Tony getting arrested for running his mouth.
Tony has a fro at the time. If that helps. I mean, it's a different guy.
Yeah, I could totally see him, mouthing off guy, especially drunk. I mean, everybody. But it was Trevino who got locked up.
All right, so we're gonna move over. Very good job, though, Matt. Excellent job. Bravo. I agree. So we're moving over.
By the way, I felt so bad once I started lying. Like I was like,
oh, really?
and I started adding details, and I was like, God, I'm a fucking psycho.
Well, you know what's funny? Your hand did start shaking at the end of that story.
Sure, man.
The first was
going off the rails, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
He really did say the thing about faggots fighting in a Whataburger. That was a real laugh.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
All right, so and then Jimmy's story, the first one was about having sex with 4 chicks as an opener for Sam Kinison. We heard all the lurid details, and the second story was about running for 8th grade class president.
And a little fact is that we only heard about 3 of the 4 girls.
No. I thought.
No, there was another one. I mean, after another one after the 11:00 show went down. The other one was just out of the blue. Where I'm getting ready to go to bed. It's like 3:30 in the morning, and there's a knock on the door.
He said that
and I was like, oh,
okay,
shit.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, with the trench coat with the freaking lingerie.
Because I was thinking things are funny in 3s, and here he is doing a fourth one. Yeah. So, what do you think, Matt? Which story do you think is true? His second story being the 8th grade class president and wanting to change the color of.
I just gotta go with the first story. There's so much detail. It's a longer story. I don't think he could lie that long.
apparently he can.
Yeah, man. I think it was the first was the truth, man. The 8th grade thing. I mean, it's funny. You know what gets me on that is the slogan. What was the
vote for Shub? He's no Rube.
Oh,
yeah,
I
man.
Think he was
that's like pretty
over
good.
Trying to figure out what to rhyme his name. The whole time.
Yep. Because I was too. I was gonna do something like that as a joke. So we could have had the same mindset.
And when we were talking about it before, I don't think he can lie. I think you're a terrible liar, Jimmy Shubert. I think
Well, you should tell that to my ex-girlfriend.
I think the 8th grade story is not true. What about you, Austin?
Yeah, same. Not convinced on the 8th grade story because of the platform of the colored money. And like you said, when I said the 2 weird names, somebody Council and Thomas O'Malley, the alley cat, you were kind of like, oh.
Yeah, but
they're like players for some like hockey team that he knew of. Like.
You know what? If the first story was true, I think there'd be a lot more details about all the women. And the only details we really got about the women was the stripper.
First off, just so you know, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, and you don't retain that kind of detail.
No,
I mean after a four-nighter?
It's a debaucherous night.
Yeah. We're doing booger sugar. We're drinking. I'm doing the pump and dump.
I'm going to ask you never to fucking say booger sugar in front of me ever again. All right? 4 fucking times you said booger sugar. Make it stop, Jimmy. Put that on back down and put it in your
what's your name? What's your sign? Where you from? Hi, what's your name? What's your sign? Where you from? Hi, what's your...
Jesus Christ.
So I think the first story
the
is
Bolivian
not
marching
true.
band. You think the first story is not true?
I think you did. You did run for class president, and you probably did hear your dad complaining about the color money, and he had some weird plan, and you stole his plan. I think.
Wow, that's a different take.
Okay, is that your take on it?
Yeah, because I could see
you say the first
a dad
story,
complaining about something like that.
So you say the second story.
Hold on. But now, I think because so I'm saying the first story is true because I've heard him tell a similar story about being very decadent with Kinison during that time.
Okay.
So decadent, yeah.
Yeah. Debaucherous and decadent.
Yeah.
Did you know him then, Felicia?
Who, Jimmy?
Yeah.
We go all the way back.
Was this before your accident?
No, it was after my accident.
It was after your accident. Okay, yeah. All right. I'm gonna.
I'm sure he slept with many women. Not that night.
Well, I think he did sleep with that many women.
I think it's burned into his memory, and he revisits that memory every time he masturbates. That's what I think.
It's definitely like all those women, but like it's like the movie Big Fish. It's like there's some it's like all those women.
Cineplex.
It was like different nights.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So is that what you're thinking?
No, I think it's true, man.
Okay. What do you think?
I think the first one's true. Yeah.
The first one.
So
The first story is true.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was totally. It just.
We're all shocked.
Yeah, I ran for president. I didn't win, but
Yeah.
I did have the changing
That's
of the
what I
money
thought.
was
Yep.
the thing that fucking sunk my campaign. It was just sunk my campaign. Fucking thing.
Yeah, I get it.
I didn't win, but I did run under that thing. But my dad was helping me with all these different stories.
It sounded like a dad thing to do. Change the color.
Yeah, but I didn't win. But the other thing, the story was true, and it just really happened. It was like, it was just one of those things because we were there for 3 weeks, created such tremendous stuff. So and the shows were selling out, and we had a freaking strip club every every night, and it was crazy, and it was insane, and so. That's what happened.
that.
So that was one of the best nights of my life. Now
Clearly so. So
because it doesn't happen anymore. That doesn't happen anymore. Not when I had a 32-inch waist.
Took the wand out of retirement one night only. If I
One
may
night only.
reference a Mat Edgar quote.
okay, all right. So Jessica, who do you think was the best liar today?
I honestly think Matt was the better liar.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I can't fucking lie for shit.
Matt added
Clearly.
just so much detail to both stories that it was a little psycho.
You gotta watch it, man, because you can't add too much detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, you over
You had
detail.
enough.
Yeah, you had just enough.
Just enough. Man.
Yeah, you convinced
Well, you
me.
pulled a lot of truth, though. I
Yeah.
felt like I was cheating because there was a lot of truth.
Well,
there.
there was. Yeah, but it wasn't.
The meat of the story was not true.
You're allowed to do that. Still, you changed the
Right.
story.
Now
around.
we have had people come on, and I get so mad at them because they wouldn't change the meat of the story. They would just be like, "Oh, well, it didn't happen in American Apparel. It happened in
No, that's bad. That's
Yeah.
no.
American Eagle.
That's cheating
whatever.
the podcast.
Right.
All right. So, you guys have been tremendous guests. Thank you so much for coming by and doing our podcast. And where
it's
can
our
people follow
pleasure.
you? Do you have anything
Well,
you want to
yes,
shout
at
out?
Jimmy Shubert on Twitter and Instagram, and Jimmy
At
Shubert
the
comedian-
Shub.
at Shub is no Rube. At Shub is no Rube. I still carry that said no, but that's Jimmy Shubert. Shubert spelled Shubert, just like the theater. There's no C in it, and don't fucking spell it with a C. It's a pet peeve. So JimmyShubert.com. You can find all. People always go, I can't find you because I go, well, just fucking. Take
I
out
love
the
how
C."
you actually made another rhyme for that.
Yeah,
Like you're good at that.
I am. That's how I do it.
All righty. So, what about you, Matt?
At Mat Edgar on my main shit's Instagram. 1T and Matt.
Yeah, just MAT. It looks like mate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does.
Edgar.
At quick glance. Yeah.
Now, do you do the Twitter too, Matt, as well?
Yeah, but I'm not as active.
Yeah, it's
It's mostly retweeting gigs and shit.
yeah, it's a lot of
Yeah.
hate. On
But
Twitter.
I have fun with Instagram.
I love Instagram too.
And Austin, where can people follow you?
The Austin Walker on everything. The Austin Walker.
Okay, great.
The Austin, not
The one and only.
the one and
That
only.
was my high school nickname because I was class president 3 out of my 4 years. How I knew
See,
you were
you
alive.
would know.
Oh shit.
A real class president.
He immediately started calling bullshit. Like, you, class president?
No, but
I don't see it.
I don't think you got what it takes.
but the color money thing was a good thing.
Wow, well, you guys were so awesome, and thank you very much. I've been Felicia Michaels. Please do us a favor. Our YouTube is very active these days, and you can catch us wherever you go for your podcasting needs.
I'm at Jess Wellington 2 on everything. Yes, subscribe to our YouTube page, please. We also have a Patreon. You can find that in any of the descriptions. That'd be great if somebody would donate.
Good plug. Good plug.
Confidence.
Yeah, and you've been lied to.